Hello, everyone. This is Gwydion, and today I'm going to be talking about combat for Shadow of the Demon Lord. So, Shadow of the Demon Lord is now an official rule set. It's been that way for several months now, due to the great work of principally Damned and Spoofer, also known as Damien and Kevin. I did some of the module conversion and a fair bit of the grunt work, but honestly, Damned and Spoofer have continued to just do amazing work with the automation and the rule set itself. So let's dive in so I don't make this too long. So I've got the current version of the rule set up, and that as of today, April 16th, this is the most recent version. So I'm going to open up the combat tracker, and I already have some characters loaded and NPCs, and I'm going to open up an image. Let's get this zoomed in a little bit, make it nicer, and make sure, there we go, we can see these guys. This is just a map that I created for a knife in your hand, the knife in your hand. So I actually added some effects and some things. You can find this out on the Shadow of the Demon Lord forum, actually. All right, so let me open the character I've created. And the character is Seamus over here. So to start, as you all probably know, Shadow of the Demon Lord uses a fast, slow mechanic for turns. So on fast turns, you can only do either a move or an action, and on slow turns, you can do both, but you do that at the cost of going after those that select fast turns. So if you open your character sheet, you can see Seamus here in the middle top portion of the sheet. He's got fast, slow, and if he's surprised, let's just say he's engaged with them already, so he's going to go fast. So he's going to double click this, and you'll see that populate the initiative up in the combat tracker. So double click on fast, and it shows here as well, Seamus chooses fast turn. So let's say that, I don't know, the bar guest, I'm going to move the bar guest up just a bit, say he was up here. Let's say the bar guest wants to go slow. So if you open up the record for the bar guest, you can see you don't see fast slow here, but that's because typically people run NPCs right out of the combat tracker. So if you go to the attacks section and you expand that, and you can do it for everyone if you want, you'll see the population of fast and slow. So we're going to say the bandit goes fast. So you can see he still goes under the character, which is correct, because the player should always go first, and then the bar guest will go slow. So he stays populated below the bandit because he's moving slow. All right, so then we're all set, so we can start this. And if I do like reset the round, which some people do just to say this is round one, and I'll do that quickly, you'll see that the fast and slow turns reset. So just something to realize, you might want to do that first, then have people select. So I'll go back again, select fast. The bar guest is going to go slow, and then the bandit's going to go fast. The bar guest is going to go slow. There we go. Now that moved them. Okay. So we're going to say Seamus goes first. So like most rule sets, you can control left click on the token here. Up first, I need to make sure that I'm selecting Seamus so you can see the green circle around him. I can control left click here. You can see he targets. Or I can do the same, control left click on the token and untargets. I can control left click in the combat tracker on the token. So that did the same thing. And then I can look at Seamus's character sheet, and let's start with something simple. We're going to say that he does a staff attack. So if you look under your weapons section, first off, you can see that you're going fast because this is outlined in red. So that's kind of another indicator that you're moving fast or going fast. For your weapons, you'll see the roll die here to roll your attack, which you'll double click. You can see weapon damage. So if we do hit, we can damage here. This is equipped, so you can toggle this to carried or equipped. This section here shows you what type of attack. Is it melee? Is it using intellect, strength? So this is a melee attack, and it's going against the defense. Sometimes these things change, like you can see in the spells down here. Hateful Defecation uses intellect against strength. So they have that coded as well. These next two sections are boons and banes. So if you do need like a special boon for one attack, you can control mouse wheel up, and that will add a boon to your attack. So we'll get that back down to 0. So let me clear the combat tracker, or sorry, the chat, and let's roll just a normal staff attack. So I'm going to double click on the roll attack. I have him targeted. So let's see. So you can see in here, it's a nice depiction here. You attack the bandit with a staff, and I have +0 in this case because my strength is 0 or 0 modifier. But I did hit against his armor class, so it's cool right here. It shows you, and it's green, and you know you hit. So then you can roll damage. You're still having targeted. So let's go up to the staff and double click on the weapon damage. So that is 1d6 +1. So that's 2 + 1 is 3. And you can see that the damage here in the combat tracker is showing 3. So pretty cool. And it shows that, that it hit the bandit and the weapon did that damage. So let's advance the tracker and we'll click on the bandit and we'll have the bandit Seamus. So in this case, again, you want to roll everything out of here in the combat tracker. So we're going to target Seamus and we're going to just do his club attack. So 12. So Seamus has a +2 defense. I'm going to have to look. Why is that the case? Oh, it's attack versus Seamus, melee versus defense. And then I think it's showing the +2 because he has, if you look at this club, he has an attack bonus of +2. So that's what that is. So 1d20, so he has a 14. If you look at Seamus's defense in his combat, or sorry, his character sheet, it's a 9. So that's a hit. So then you can roll the damage out of here. And that's a 5. Ooh, that hit him pretty good. So let's say for the moment, well, let's just keep going. We'll keep going. We'll go to the Barghest. So now the Barghest moved slow. The Barghest has some special attacks here. So let's look at this. If you look, actually, we'll do it from the combat tracker. If you open up, if you look in the combat tracker, there's a targeting, which you could use. There's a space and reach, which isn't I mean, it's standard, but so in this case, he can reach 2. I think that's right in Shadow of the Demon Lord. If you look at effects, you can see that he does have this impaired effect, and this will come into play with one of his attacks. So if you look at the Barghest, I'm going to open that up, see if we can find it. Traits here, so there's a lot of cool coding that shows he's immune to cold and fire, immunity traits, defensive traits, all these different things. And then if you go to attacks, you can see under Hello Waits, he's using an action or a triggered action to make a will attack against the will of a target. And makes it with 3 boons if the target has corruption. But what I wanted to read down here is he can curse you, and until the curse is lifted, the target can't heal damage and is impaired. So that's why the impaired effect is already listed in the Barghest. So we'll do Hello Waits attack. Let's do that first. So we've got him targeted. So we're going to double click. So that's going to be will against will. So we rolled an 11. So in this case, I did not have him targeted. That's my fault. So I don't know if you can just drag and drop it on. We can try. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's go back here, control left click. And now you can see that the Barghest, see. Oh, I've got to click. I'm clicking on the bandit. That's why. Move him down here, click on the Barghest, and then target Seamus. And then we'll do Hello Waits. So let's close this one down. Open up the attacks, and we'll do Hello Waits. 6 + 11. So that time it's a miss. Okay, you can see that's in red. Let's roll again. 15. Okay. And that is a hit this time. All right, so we won't do the damage in this case, but what I wanted to show you is the effect. So there's a couple different ways that you can deal with this effect. So effects are a little bit different. It's not the typical effects in the effects library. The way this is implemented is a special effect section that there's a ton of effects already set up from the core rulebook. Okay, and these all come with different coding as to what they'll do automatically. So impaired, you can see it will give you a -1 strength to agility rolls, intellect rolls, will rolls, all of these rolls. This has to be toggled on for it to be active. but we need to get it on Seamus, right? So you can't just drag and drop it on Seamus here, but there's a couple of ways you can do it. So I've got his character sheet open here. So I can drag this impaired and drop it right on his character sheet. Then I need to toggle it to on. So now if you look at Seamus and expand effects, you'll see it there and it's on. So if I want to turn it off, I can do it from his character sheet, or I can do it right in the combat tracker, and those are linked, obviously. Let's go back to the Barghest again. And I showed you can't simply just drag and drop it on Seamus, but let me get rid of this effect. And then if you open Seamus's sheet in the combat tracker, then you can simply left-click hold and drag this into the effects section and drop it. So that works too. And then make sure to turn it on. Okay? So let's just say we go through the combat round, and now we're back at the top. So again, every round you have to select, are you going fast or slow? So you'll have to, again, let's just say the bandit's going to go slow this time. Let's say the Barghest is going to go fast. These will swap. Now the Barghest is on top. And we'll say Seamus is going to go fast again. So he moves on top. So now, because he's impaired, let's just say he's going to try to do a club attack against the bandit. Okay, so targets the bandit. We'll do a club attack, double click. So he rolled a d20, plus he rolled a Bane die. So he got a 20 minus 1, which is a 19. That's still hit. Okay, so pretty cool. All right, I'm going to show you a couple of other things in here. So let's go back up to Seamus. Left click, get rid of that. Don't target. Trying to clear this up. Okay, now we have Seamus. So let's go into the spells here. So you can see for Hateful Defecation, you would target, let's just target the Barghest in this case. So in this case, if you open this up, you can see all the information. You can unlock it, and you can change any of this if you need to. Okay, but the important thing is you can roll to attack and do the damage. And this is showing it's his intellect against the creature's strength. If you had a boon or a bane, it would be populated here. Let's make sure. Yeah, I don't see a boon. And then you can see here the level of the spell, the spell rank, and then how many castings you've already utilized. So the way Shadow of the Demon Lord works, based on your power level, you get a certain number of castings of each rank spell. So for all of your rank 0 spells, you can do up to 2. For all of your rank 1 spells, you can cast each 1 time at power level of 1. Let's do Hateful Defecation. So we're going to roll. And in this case, that did intellect versus strength. It rolled with a bane, I believe, or I don't know if it rolled with 1 or 2 banes. But again, that's because I'm impaired. Should be impaired if I open this. Yes, I have it toggled on, and any intellect challenge roll, I'm going to have a -1, which means you're going to roll with a bane. If I untoggle that and roll Hateful Defecation again, I just roll with the normal d20, and that's a hit. Okay. So again, it's showing intellect versus strength. So that's cool. It tells you what it's attacking against. Now, in this case, in order to show that you've casted the spell, you would double click on the spell castings. I double click on that, and it shows you uses Hateful Defecation, and then it has a nice visual to gray out the spell. So now you can't utilize that anymore. So same token, if let's say that Seamus used light healing instead to heal himself. So in this case, you have to touch the target, and it heals damage equal to its healing rate. So on your character sheet, right under health, you'll see there's a button for half the healing rate, and then there's a normal healing rate. So the way that you'll do this, if it's a spell or an effect that uses your full healing rate, then you would double click to heal here, which will heal 4. So this 5 should go to 1. So there, we've done that. And let's just say we wanted to do half healing. So we're going to move this up to 8. And then as you can see here, you're going to shift hold shift and double click, and it does half the healing rate. So that's how healing works in Shadow of the Demon Lord. Now, if you've utilized your spells here, let's say you also have talents that have uses. So in this case, you don't double click these for the shared recovery. But if you double click on the Shadow of the Demon Lord icon, it shows that you've used that feature. And now you can see daily uses, it shows 1, but under uses remaining, it's blank. So the way you replenish these, if you needed to, you could control scroll wheel up to replenish this. But otherwise, if you click on a rest, it'll replace all of these. So your spell castings utilized would go to 0, and your talent would go up to 1. So let's just click on rest, double click on rest. There you go. So that's back up. Let's see, that's the basics of combat. Really, really simple and straightforward, but you can see, I think the effect utilization is nice. Spells, again, if you need to do any, like one time, like if your GM says, hey, you have a Bane because, the creature's on higher ground and you're swinging up, you'll see on your character sheet, you can double click on the up arrow for boons to give yourself a boon, or down to reduce that. Same with Banes, double click it to give yourself a Bane. So remember, if you're giving yourself a Bane, it's going to be the white, and if you're reducing it, it's going to be the red. So let's just say I have, 2 boons on this attack. So I'm going to do a club attack, double click, and this is going to go away. It's going to be a one-time use. So double click, it's rolling the boons, it's going to keep the highest, and you're good to go. So probably get into a little more detail later, but that's essentially it. So hopefully this is a nice short tutorial that gives you an idea of how to use combat in Shadow of the Demon Lord. So I hope you enjoyed the rule set. A ton of work was gone into it, and we love it. So keep us posted in the forums or on the Fantasy Ground Discord channel on what you'd like to see. Thanks, everyone. I hope to see you around the Fantasy Grounds forums.